This next one is pretty important and one I wanted to be sure to bring up early on in the string of videos, and that has to do with time investment. So how much time should you be investing into this dream incubation practice if you want to give it a serious go? So I'm in complete alignment with Machiel's recommendation of saying give it at least a month, and it goes for everybody. Even if you're somebody who already has an established dream work practice and say you dream journal most days, you still want to give it at least a solid month's worth of effort, but if you're somebody who says has no dream work practice together whatsoever, say like the vast majority of people out there, you definitely want to give this at least a month's worth of effort to see how it's going to work for you, just because there's a lot of stuff you have to get in alignment with, right? First of all, you have to start to build this relationship with your dreams, which might sound really simple and straightforward on its face, but actually can take some time to do that, especially if you're somebody, with no dream work practice whatsoever. You also have to get used to asking good questions, which is, even as we get through the different tips and recommendations, which we'll do a lot of later on in the book, it's still going to take some trial and error, in just that process alone. You have to get used to building the habit of immediately trying to recall, whatever dreams you're having the moment you wake up, right? So if you wake up and you think, oh, what time is it? Or, what kind of shit do I have to do for work today? Or, man, I really got to pee. You're going to lose a lot of your dreams that way if the first thing on your mind isn't immediately trying to recall and retain whatever dreams you were just in. You also have to get used to dream journaling. Like, how are you going to do it? There's a lot of different ways to do it. You could do a voice memo thing. You could write it out in a notebook. You could try to type it out on your phone, but I wouldn't really recommend that, because as you do this stuff more often, you start to recall more and more dreams, and it's really hard and slow to type that shit out on the phone. At least it is for me. Or you could do what I like to do the most, and that's type it out on a computer, just because it's a lot easier to sort through and organize later on. But, that has problems in itself too, because then you have to get to the computer, you have to turn it on, and in that process, you can lose a lot of the dream, which also brings up another thing. You also have to get used to holding this stuff in memory long enough to transcribe it and document it in whatever form of journal you're going to be using, because as you're like typing out one part of the dream, you're going to start to forget all the other parts of the dreams unless you actually, spend some time in bed committing all this shit to memory before going ahead and trying to document it. Then you have to be getting good sleep. Now, I guess for this practice in particular, I guess you don't really need to be having like 7-8+ hours of sleep like you do for like a lucid dreaming practice. But any dream work practice is going to be better off getting more sleep, just because you're spending so much exponentially more time in REM, the more hours into the night it gets. Oh, and also on the good sleep topic, right? That includes things like not smoking weed if you're doing that stuff, because you just won't be able to recall much or any dreams, for at least for most people, that is. Alcohol and shit can fuck up your dreams as well. And then you also have to like beat everybody else awake, right? So the same thing, like if you don't want to be checking the clock or thinking about work or going to pee once you wake up. If you wake up because you didn't beat your family awake and your kids are knocking you on your shoulder, trying to ask you a question, and your wife's telling you to go do something, well, then you're screwed, right? You're not going to have that opportunity to try and recall your dreams, and that's going to put off, your time to journal and all that as well. So a lot of things to kind of get in alignment there, but really, honestly, just on the learning how to ask good questions, just that alone, see if you have everything else already 100% locked down, you're still gonna want to give that at least a solid month's worth of effort to really, trial and error and learn how to talk and communicate with your own specific dreams.